Canada is breaking up with India. Yes, you heard it right. Diplomatic ties between the countries has hit rock bottom. Trudeau has been pointing fingers at India. India is pulling their top diplomats. It's a whole mess. And how did these allies end up getting here? In this video, I will unravel the series of events to you and talk about what really happened. Okay, June 18th, 2023. It was a calm summer evening in Surrey, BC. As prayers concluded at the Gurudwara, Hardeep Singh Nijjar stepped outside. Suddenly, two masked men appeared and fired multiple shots. Nijjar collapsed, fatally wounded, and eventually took his last breath. The attackers ended up vanishing into the night. 3 months later, on September 18th, 2023, Justin Trudeau stood in the middle of Parliament and made a bold claim. He accused India of being involved in Nijjar's murder, citing credible allegations from Canadian intelligence.
Canadian security agencies have been actively pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
This announcement shocked everyone and absolutely triggered a series of events of diplomatic fallout. This was pretty wild. India and Canada have had strong ties for years together. India is one of Canada's top 10 trading partner. In 2023 alone, India contributed to over $9 billion of trade relationship with Canada. Beyond trade, Indian international students are a huge economic boost, contributing to around $22.3 billion per year, adding up to $223 billion for over last decade. One of the largest group of international students in any country. So, usually when two long-standing allies and major trade partners face tensions, these issues are quietly handled behind the closed doors. So, Trudeau's decision to announce this in the middle of Parliament was either bizarre or something extremely serious was really going on. After all, Trudeau was very confident that he had credible evidences. So, the world was just waiting for him to publicize it, and they were also thinking, did India really mess up this bad? However, things took a U-turn. India denied and basically called Trudeau's accusation absurd and politically motivated. And they said, and I quote, "No specific evidence has been shared by Canada despite of repeated requests from our side." India also accused Canada for sheltering extremists, stating, and I quote, "Certain individuals in Canada pose a direct threat to our sovereignty, and yet Canada continues to provide them a safe place to live in." Listen to what Minister of External Affairs had to tell about this.
We have been telling Canada, saying, look, these are wanted criminals from India. You have given them visas. They have come, many of them in false documentation, and yet you allow them to live there. If you decide to import for political purposes people with very dubious, actually very negative background, there will be issues.
He literally schooled Trudeau in this video. What followed then was absurd. Khalistani supporters protested outside the Indian consulate in Toronto on July 8, 2023. They burnt Indian flags and shouted anti-India slogans, expressing angers over the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. This demonstration was one of several events that happened across Canada and also other cities, increased tensions between Canada and India. Another event that upset India was a parade in Canada that showcased assassination of Indira Gandhi, who happens to be one of the most popular and influential ex-prime ministers of India. This parade literally showcased scenes of her murder. Indian community were extremely angered as they saw it as disrespectful. India has reportedly criticized Canada for allowing such events to happen, claiming it gives space to extremist groups. And Canada's response was simply unbelievable. Imagine you're the Prime Minister of Canada and you know everything that is going on right now in the world. There is a war happening in Europe, there is a war happening in Middle East, there are a lot of communal issues that is going on in the world. You know that we are literally in the brisk of World War III. And at the time when you need to take care of all your allies, the leader of one of the world's fastest growing power comes to you and tells to you, hey, our flags are being burnt on the streets of your country, and then you just tell that, hey, that's okay, we allow it because it's freedom of expression. Just think about it. It's simply absurd. Everyone are trying to be friends with India considering what is going on, and this guy is making an enemy out of them. Justin Trudeau, I know you made a lot of drugs legal in Vancouver, but are you on any of them? What are you thinking? Why would you even do that? And of course, I understand India was pissed off. Eventually, they ended up summoning Canada's top diplomat in India. He was in the External Affairs Ministry for about 20 minutes in a heated conversation. And look at the statement that came out afterwards. India is withdrawing its High Commissioner from Canada. Listen to the reasons, and I'm quoting. it was underlined that an atmosphere of extremism and violence, the Trudeau government's actions endangered the safety of our diplomats. India is not confident that Canada is able to commit to provide safety and security to Indian diplomats, so they don't feel it makes sense for them to have them anymore in Canada. Look at this video. Right after that, Khalistani groups uploaded yes, you saw it right. They were burning Indian flags and faces of Indian top diplomats, and they posted it on their social media. The government is doing nothing about it in the name of freedom of expression. On 13th October 2024, Canada delivered a message to India. They said that Indian diplomat, which is the High Commissioner, is one of the persons of interest in the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. So let's understand what's going on here. Canada wants to investigate Mr. Sanjay Kumar Verma. He is one of India's most experienced diplomat with over 36 years of experience and has been involved in Hardeep Singh Nijjar's murder as per Canada. When Canadian High Commissioner was arguing with India, he was like, hey, we are finally giving you the proof for what we accused India in the middle of Parliament 13 months ago. And it's credible and irrefutable. But my question really is, why has it not been publicized yet, and why did it take 13 months to get the evidence across? If you actually did give the evidence, you are accusing one of the growing world leader of a serious crime in the middle of your parliament, that too without a shred of evidence, and after 13 months you get it. Meanwhile, you allow and support your citizens to burn Indian flags, pictures of top diplomats who are posted in Canada. India responded, and I quote, "It was also conveyed that India reserves the right to take further steps in response to the Trudeau government's support to extremism, violence and separatism against India." And the funny part is, Justin Trudeau is trying to just look tough to everything that's going on. Being a clown for so many years, he's like, hey, we are expelling Indian diplomats and we are sending them out of India. But when did he actually do that? After India already withdrew their diplomats from Canada, he is selling this to Canadians that he ended up expelling them when India recalled their diplomats because Canada was unable to give them safety. Listen to the response from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of India.
We have made our position very clear on this particular matter. You would have seen that several press releases have been issued in the last 2 days, putting out our position, which we are very clear that since September of 2023, the Canadian government has not shared any shred of information with us. Yesterday, again, after the public inquiry, public hearing, we had again issued a statement saying that Canada has leveled serious allegations, but has so far not given any evidence to back it up.
Yes, and he just said Canadian government has not shared a shred of evidence. India has also provided 26 extradition requests pending from the Canadian side. That also includes people charged with terrorist activities. India claims to have provided the intel that was needed for Canada to make this arrest or extradite them out of the country, and that is still pending to an extent where some of those are over a decade old. And the funny part is, one of those are gang members of someone named Lawrence Bishnoi. Now, who the heck is this guy? सलमान भाई, आप नाराज मत हो जाइए, ये तो अलग ही लफड़ा है, मैं उसमें आता हूँ बाद में. Who is Lawrence Bishnoi? He's criminal who has been in the jails of India for a while now, and India has also given Canada extradition requests for some of his gang members to have been operating here in Canada, and Trudeau did nothing about it. Canada did nothing about it. When India was like, hey, there are some people from Lawrence Bishnoi's gang who are engaged in criminal activities in Canada, please do something about it, they did nothing. They did not arrest him nor obey India's extradition requests. India was like, these are criminals. You're giving them a safe place to live in and you're giving them visas. Here is everything that happened until this video is being shot. You perhaps have more information and developments while you're watching this video, but I'm here to ask some serious questions. Next few minutes, it's gonna get real. So brace for impact. Okay, here we go. Justin Trudeau, you stood up in the middle of Parliament and defended Hardeep Singh Nijjar as if he was an innocent man just caught in the crossfire of international politics. So let's start by getting to know a bit more about him. After all, his killing started all of this mess, right? Also, this means that he must have been a very valuable Canadian citizen that you're worrying so much about it. So let's know about him. Hardeep Singh Nijjar reportedly entered Canada in 1997 using a fake passport, claiming asylum. His asylum was denied and they realized they ended up flagging his passport. 11 days later, he gets married to a Canadian woman. Kya baat hai yaar? 11 din ladki in? I mean, many people right now need this skill from you. Guess what? His marriage was flagged as well. Still, somehow he ended up getting Canadian citizenship, and the exact details of how he achieved this is still very unclear and it remains a mystery and it is hidden. But what I can tell is this is not background of an innocent man. An innocent man would never enter Canada with entering Canada as the first action of his crime. Trudeau, you may recall the darkest day in Canadian history. Yes, the Air India bombing in 1985. This was the worst terrorist attack Canada has ever faced, taking lives of over 329 people, of which 268 were Canadian citizens. The man behind this horrific attack was none other than Talvinder Singh Parmar, the founder of Babbar Khalsa International, BKI, whose name became synonymous with terror. But here is the question, what is Nijjar having to do with Parmar? A lot more than what you would think. Nijjar isn't just an isolated figure. He's tied to the same group founded by Parmar. Indian authorities and reports from the National Investigation Agency have documented Nijjar's activity extensively. They identify him as a key figure in BKI's operation in Canada after Parmar's death. So, when you stand in the middle of Parliament defending Nijjar, you're not just standing up for a man, you're standing up for a legacy of Babbar Khalsa, an organization rooted in terror, a group that in the past has orchestrated Canada's worst terrorist attack. Nijjar may not have personally quoted Parmar, but his actions and his alignment with the Babbar Khalsa shows he is following the footsteps of the same. He continues to carry the torch for the very cause Parmar once led. Prime Minister, is this really whom you want to defend? A man with a history clouded in controversy, linked to an organization responsible for deaths of hundreds of Canadians? Is this your version of identity politics, playing with fire, standing by someone that is tied to the extremist cause that once brought our nation to knees? This is not the first time Justin Trudeau has done something stupid. Remember when you gave standing ovation to a Nazi soldier? Yes, this guy who was part of Waffen SS unit responsible for atrocities during the World War II under Hitler's leadership, and he was invited by Justin Trudeau to the parliament and he was applauded as a hero. Yes, you applauded him, and then when you realized you messed up, you deflected the blame rather than taking responsibility. This wasn't just a simple mistake, it was a national embarrassment. But let's just go a little more further, Justin. You claim to stand against foreign interference in Canada's affairs. Really? Even if your claim that Indian authorities were involved in the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, you were very quick to label it as foreign meddling. Yet, when clear evidence emerged of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, interfering in Canadian elections last time, you downplayed it, insisting it wasn't the Chinese government, it was just a few people from China, individuals from China. If foreign interference is wrong, why the double standard? Why is it that when Indian intelligence interfered, it's a problem, and when it happens with CCP, it's not a big deal? And it doesn't stop here. You and your government have given criminals bails and probations only for them to come back and shoot Canadian police officer in his stomach. How did a criminal who has over 24 violations end up getting a bail? And how did someone with this record come out and shoot a police officer, Justin? This is the kind of leniency that endangers those who serve and protect our country and citizens of our country. Let's talk about the hate groups right now. You allow radical groups to march through Canadian streets chanting death to Canada and burning our flag. The Houthi terrorist organization and Samodian, a known terrorist sympathizer group, have been operating freely right here in Canada. Samodian acts as an arm to a listed terrorist organization in Canada, yet you've refused to designate them as a terrorist group. Why, Justin? You take no action when Indian flags are burnt, brushing it off as freedom of expression, but when terrorist organization and their supporters parade through our streets tweets calling it violence, you still do nothing. You remain silent. And now it has come to Canadian flag. You kept quiet when Indian flags was burnt, and now people are burning Canadian flag inside of Canada. Is that your leadership? And let's not forget your hypocrisy right here. When someone burns the Indian flag or protests against any other countries that you oppose politically, it's freedom of expression. But when someone burns an LGBTQ flag, they're arrested for hate crime. So Justin, which is it? All flags are fair game? Or do you just pick and choose based on your political convenience which flags can be burnt and which flags cannot be burnt? Are you really standing for hate speech, or are you weaponizing it selectively? You stand by terrorist sympathizers parade, you dismiss foreign interference when it suits you and your agenda, and you selectively enforce hate speech laws. It is time that Canadians see these double standards. What is going on really is identity politics at its worst. Who are you really supporting, Justin? And why are you risking Canada's security and reputation in this process? Justin Trudeau is good in quite a few things outside of being a racist and painting himself black. And one of those few things, Bhangra. Yes, look at it. A traditional Indian dance form Justin Trudeau is very good at. You can see him before every election season come to Indian festivals. You see, Trudeau came into Prime Minister's office when he was a new face, young and well-spoken. People believed in him and hoped for him to do well. The number of votes decreased by the next term, and he had no option but to start playing identity politics. You would hence see him in Indian festivals, Indian campuses, temples, dancing and acting out. But that was still not good enough for him to get back into the office the last time. Hence, he made a boyfriend.
He's gone. Also, that's still not how it works.
Yes, the same guy reporters are laughing out of the room. Jagmeet Singh and Justin Trudeau are about to break up, and they're having some relationship issues apparently. But this can be costly for Trudeau. He will lose the big vote bank of a very particular ethnic group. Hence, what can he do? He has already tried dancing, acting out, singing, painting his face, etc. And it almost gave him 3 terms. But right now, he needs something new. Plus, he is being emotionally molested by this guy, Pierre Poilievre. Pierre Poilievre is the leader of opposition Conservative Party. Just look at him. Roast Justin Trudeau.
The high school drama teacher over here accuses others of liking the sounds of their own voices. This from a guy who, if he were made of chocolate, he would eat himself.
The only Canadian about the Prime Minister's vacation is the tax dollars forced to pay for it. $6,000 a night vacation in London, 2 weeks in Costa Rica in the middle of the summer, surfing in Tofino, and a guilty verdict for staying at Billionaire Island. This wacko policy by this wacko Prime Minister.
Oh my god, I agree it is tough being Justin Trudeau. These videos of Pierre Poilievre roasting Trudeau in the middle of Parliament started becoming viral day by day. And now people started seeing it, and people also started asking the same questions he was asking in the Parliament. Some of which even I have. What did you do with the carbon tax? Why is carbon tax rebate so less? What is going on with the funds that you're sending to Ukraine? And why the F are you not designating people who are calling death to Canada as terrorist organizations? Why did you do nothing when Indian flags were burnt outside of the consulate, but put someone in jail for doing the same for a different LGBTQ flag? Why did you make all drugs legal in Vancouver? What happened with Arrive Can scam? Why did you not apologize for bringing a Nazi soldier and applauding him in the middle of Parliament? Why is, after all, your boyfriend waking up with you? So what is basically happening is, all the questions that I just asked, every single Canadian is asking him this. And he's trying to deflect this. And he's trying to deflect it to a different issue, so that people can forget and stop asking these questions, and they can get distracted with India. But why India? Because it anyway helps his identity politics, considering increased racism against Indians in Canada, considering increased hate groups in Canada against India. He's willing to ruin relationship of a very important growing world leader who is an ally to Canada, despite of what is happening in the Middle East between Israel and Iran, what is happening with Palestine, despite of what is happening between Ukraine, Russia, between Taiwan, China, in the middle of heated US presidential election. So much is going on for Trudeau. His place in the Prime Minister's office is so much more important than the country, and he's willing to put the relationship to a toss, which apparently is extremely important. This video, guys, is not made to hate against any group. This is simply made to present the hypocrisy of this great man. Anyway, that's it all for today. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this video, guys. So please consider subscribing and support me so that if I would need you in future, you're there to help me out.